That all goes out the window once the bell rings with these two.
These guys are both gentlemen outside the ring, and they're both animals in the ring. And that's what I love about boxing. The transition from the street in.
How about this change? Marquez trained using yoga, and Bradley is a vegan.
And it's been a pick'em fight all week long. We're about to have a lot of questions answered right now, Colonel.
Yes, we are. You mentioned one thing, Christina, very important. The calmness of Tim Bradley. He must maintain his equanimity. Both guys with dark trunks, you know the fighters. So the one with the yellow on it is Tim Bradley. It actually is a TB on his trunks. Tim Bradley, Desert Storm in the middle. And of course, Juan Marquez with a white shirt and his black trunks. With Tecate across the front.
I think one of the first questions is, how long is it going to take before Marquez tries to test the chin of Bradley?
I don't think it's going to take long, Larry, but we're going to find out very shortly, I think.
I mean, even more than usual in a fight because of what happened in that Predicnicon fight to Bradley.
That's a very good point, Larry. And Marquez, who, as you pointed out, started out, I believe, as a junior featherweight, really has a lot of pop in his punches now that he's a welterweight.
Tim has got perfect distance. His timing is perfect. Marquez with his wide shots a little bit slow with him. And Tim able to block him in the back of his glove so far.
Tim came out popping that jab as since laid back and he's studying Marquez. Both fighters sizing each other up in round one.
It'll be interesting to see who's the aggressor in this fight.
Well, that's true, Christina, because if Tim Bradley becomes the aggressor, he's going to be in trouble. He cannot be sucked into a brawl.
They're both natural counterpunchers. So we can have some version and variation of what we're looking at right now for rounds and rounds.
And that'll be hard to score if it stays like this.
Well, let's hope.
Well, Bradley is beating Marquez to the punch here, but Marquez, you know, his mind is going at 110% to try to set something up.
He's tried a couple of lead left hooks. Bradley's blocked them pretty well. And that's a beautiful vintage uppercut by Marquez. The lead uppercut that he so successfully lands. And there he tries it again.
And it worked. It didn't catch him flush, but it worked. Bradley, as soon as he had hit, the Warrior comes out there. You notice he didn't take a step back. He took a step in after he got hit.
He didn't, Colonel. And there's another big left hook. And he's caught him a couple times with the uppercut and the hook so far, Larry.
And he also hit him with his head, you know.
That's important, Larry, because there's an inch height difference here in favor of...
Bradley was notorious for using his head physically in fights up until recent fights.
Yeah, well, he'll use it tonight because he has to when you're fighting a tough Mexican-style fighter. He'll use it for sure.
And a prominent head that is. That's a rather large head that Bradley has.
You know, no matter how Marquez has built up his body, which he has, you can see that Bradley is a naturally bigger man.
Very good point.
And naturally quicker. It's the bell ending round one. That's a Bradley round.
I have it a Marquez round.
No, that's what I expect. The judges will be split on that too. And that's why it could be controversial at the end.
Okay, he's started. That's why you gotta be smart, dude.
Punches were landed by Marquez, a couple of the uppercuts and the hooks.
Don't let him establish that.
I'll give you the uppercuts.
Okay? Don't let him establish that uppercut. You got this? You gotta stay smart. You gotta throw that jab in.
But when you have rounds like that, that's why it can be
controversial.
I'm glad we see it differently, Mario, and I'll tell you why. Because I expect that's the way the judges will be. I guarantee you all three judges don't have it the same way.
What's the expression that John...
Muy bien, Oper, te dije izquierda, derecha, Oper.
Aggression for effectiveness or something
Porque el gancho izquierdo lo trae bien tapado, el otro no
a factor in scoring. But when one
izquierda, derecha, Oper y derecha
is
al
the
cuerpo.
aggressor or throws a lot more punches, he will often get credit for the closer rounds.
A little swelling on the forehead of Marquez due to the headbutts.
All right, this is round number two. Colonel Bob Sheridan, we got Larry Merchant, Mario Lopez, and Christina Pancha alongside. Glad to be working with all of these true sensational professionals. And
Four jabs in succession.
Four jabs in a row. The two professionals in the ring are truly professionals as well. Timothy Bradley, and of course Juan Marquez.
Timothy Bradley coming up popping those jabs and then a nice left hook to start the second round.
different looks.
Coming out a lot more aggressive in this round to start than he did the first.
And then final for that liver shot again.
Low punch.
One thing that's great about a low punch, Larry, it may not count in terms of the referee, but it certainly counts in the body of your opponent.
Now we know how you fight, Curtis.
I'm a dirty fighter.
Tim's corner yelling, stay on the plan. Stay on the plan, something he did not do in his last fight, but Joel Diaz is a mastermind and really has come up with a plan. We'll see what it is, but they're yelling that over and over.
Ultimately, it's the fighter who has to decide.
Absolutely.
Bradley seemed a little more comfortable in there.
Yeah, you're right, Larry. I noticed that too. He's very, very relaxed. Of course, Juan Manuel Marquez has been to the well so many times. He knows what this is all about. For him, nice football to the 40-year-old guy, up on his toes, able to bounce away from the quick and elusive, slick punching and slick moving Timothy Bradley.
Marquez staying disciplined to remain the puncher. And
Good left hook there, Bradley.
Minute to go. Second round, Thomas and Mack loaded up the right, didn't quite connect. Timothy Bradley setting up right in front of him. Don't like that. Now he gets his angle. You don't want to come straight in to Marquez. We talked about him being a counterpuncher, and you're right, Mario. He's one of the best. He got ripped to the body that time and just coming in. Another difficult round to score.
I don't think it is. I think Bradley's winning this clean.
I'm giving it to Bradley.
I agree, Marquez seems a little gun shy to me in there right now.
You know, you get the feeling that he's trying to set something up, trying to define what is he doing, where can I get him?
He got in the brawl! Closing seconds, Tim brawl! Tim won the round. I think he's won too.
Tim won that round for sure. And at the end of the second is an indication to the third and slow things and get interesting.
But you know what it's all about? No matter what they say in the crowd, these fighters are fighters. And it's instinct. When they get hit, they're coming back. No matter what they do in the gym, no matter how much they're putting themselves, these guys are warriors first. Both of them.
Here's a Bradley shot with a nice right hand over the top. End of the round, both the gentlemen in the corner. Bradley coming with a looping overhand right. And both letting the leather fly. Bradley closing out what I thought was a big round for him.
I scored in that last flurry. Bradley 2-0 over Marquez. He landed 2 good shots. Here we go, round number 3. Thomas and Mack Center, Las Vegas, Nevada. The WBO Welterweight Championship of the World on the line. Timothy Bradley with the yellow trim on his black and the red trim on his black fronts is, of course, multi-champion, multi-divisional champion, Juan Manuel Marquez. But we all thought Bradley took the second round, and we were too close to call in the first.
It seems to me, Bradley coming in with those looping punches and his head leaning forward, Marquez will eventually time him and counter him. But is this an older Marquez that can't pull the trigger to do that? Remains to be seen.
Well, I think it is, because I see his punches very wide. I see his punches looping. His only hope is to get this guy into a very, very big brawl. It's the championship records. Bradley's 8-0 in championship fights, and Marquez is 9-4-1 in world championship fights.
Remember, we think of Marquez, obviously, because of his fight with Pacquiao. But Pacquiao was a good matchup for him in the sense that
played into the strengths.
He was coming forward. He was always looking to land big punches, and Marquez could play off that.
On paper, Bradley is a tough style, but we've seen Bradley change it up as of late. And as we've discussed earlier, if he bites down on that mouthpiece and chooses to exchange, then that's when he can get into trouble.
Well, he's on the bit to intelligence tonight, because I think he's fighting a perfect fight. He's hitting him more in this round, too. Cleaner shots. Continues to serve with his left, but he bounces back to his right. Stops, plants, anything but straightforward. And that's the way to beat Marquez.
At what point, too, gentlemen, does Marquez change his game plan and become a little more aggressive?
Well, that would be out of character. He may have to, but that's not how he's fought.
There's nothing on that punch. But in the seat so far, they get really excited. You got to remember, anything that Marquez does, the crowd will cheer because it's about 80% Mexican fans in attendance tonight.
That's being generous. That's being, I think it's like 90%. That's not being generous, excuse me.
Conservative.
Conservative, excuse me, yes, exactly.
Well, I'm definitely a conservative in every way. My man James Cowell doesn't particularly agree with me, but neither does his wife agree with him. Marquez sort of waiting. He's a counter puncher, as you know. Larry's pointed that out, but it's not likely he'll change. Tim makes a miss again. Beautifully slips the punch.
He's rolling with the punches. It looks like he's getting hit, but he's rolling with them pretty well.
Still ends. That to me is a definite Bradley round.
Marquez had his moments, but not enough to win the round.
Talk to me.
I'm good.
Okay, he caught you with the right hand.
Yes, I have Bradley winning the
Ah,
first.
entonces no te ha dado con tope. Bien,
That's
nada más que
Ignacio Nacho Barostan.
rematar. A ver si puedes, es difícil, porque es muy rápido, pero rematar, Juan. Le ganaste el round.
Nice counter left hook, right hand combination from Marquez. One of the highlights for him in that round. Another right hand that Bradley was sort of rolling with, but not a lot of contact. Showing some Marquez highlights, but real tough round to score for Marquez.
All right, we're set to go just about round number 4. Sean Monahan, Vasily Lomachenko, Orlando Salido, all knockout winners tonight. This one getting more interesting by the round. This is round 4. Little Bob Sheridan here with Larry Merchant. Glad that you can be with us. Mario Lopez and Cristina Pancho with us as well. Wow with the punch, a little frustration by Marquez. Or he's a little too old to land accurate punches, which is what I believe.
He's starting to feel the same way for me.
Don't forget one thing. We talked about it before, Mario. This man is an absolute warrior. And great champions like him can do things that other guys can't.
No doubt about it.
So don't be surprised, you know, if he comes back and lands some shots. But I don't think his timing is good tonight. I think his shots are too wide. I think he slowed down with his arm speed. I think Tim can just outbox him like this all night. Could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
Arm shot.
And a little desperation there. Trying to compensate.
All right, let's see what this is all about. Time has been called.
And some Vaseline.
He's got a ton of Vaseline on his head. His
Wipe that
forehead.
off his body. Wipe it off his body.
Vaseline on the body. I don't know that I've
It
ever
probably
seen
just fell.
that.
I think it just fell
That's
from
not
the
your
bottom.
normal style unless it felt like Christina says. Pedro
Roll
Martinez
time.
used to do that.
On the body?
Yeah, and try to get it on the other guy's gloves.
Well, if you pull it off, it'll help.
Or you try it. You get caught, you get caught. They're going to find you. Round 4. I love the referees in the United States Athletic Commission because they pick up things like that that would go missed. I'm not talking about New York and Miami and,
They're the best in business.
Los Angeles, but basically those are your places where you get great referees in New Jersey as well. Stiff jab there. Not quite the war that we're sexually expected. That's all in favor of Tim. He's the ring general. He's dictating that. About a minute to go in the fourth round. As far as I'm concerned, it's all Bradley.
Well, this is, to me, why Bradley's a polarizing figure. Because he's doing what he's got to do to win, yet somehow it doesn't win over the public and clamor to want to see a Bradley fight when he fights like this.
Would you rather take the Klitschko's money and fame? Or would you want to listen to him get into brawls and please the public.
Well, but, you know, that's the issue here, because certainly Marquez is not fighting any more aggressively than Bradley is. He's fighting his style of fight, counter-puncher style of fight, and Bradley is mostly beating to the punch. One of the surprises I have is how gray the little beard is on Marquez.
Combination of gray hair and Vaseline.
Oh, it's the Vaseline.
Mixed it up a little bit, but not much happened there in all honesty. Another nice exchange. Tim landed the left hand with the right one up behind the ear. I think it's Bradley in that round myself, folks.
Well, I think that round was much ado about nothing.
There's Aldo Marquez.
First time he's seen his father fight in person.
Fórzalo a pelear, y si corre, córtale el paso. No más vivo, porque está corriendo, pero se da el parón. Córtale el paso cuando lo haces fallar y
character. I don't know that many people know that he was an accountant of Mexico City early in his career because he was so good at mathematics in high school.
Can you imagine the mathematics you have to manipulate the books in Distrito Federal? You better be a mathematician.
That's a skill. Well, then I think it's safe to assume the money he's made, he's probably invested well. Or he knows how much he has.
Well, now he's more like a Wall Streeter.
Right.
If you give me an accountant for the government in Distrito Federal, you're a genius. All right. I won't see any more because the Mexicans will attack me when I get down there next week.
Meanwhile, Bradley came out popping that jab again. Looking fantastic shape as usual.
This is round 5. The chair Mexico goes up, reaches downstairs. Tim's got that washboard stomach and a light blow to the body will not hurt him. Stiff jab to the forehead of Marquez. Another regular landed on the forehead of Marquez. That's why they're loading up the grease. Nacho knows what he's doing over there in that corner.
We haven't seen that flush uppercut that Marquez landed so beautifully in the first round. And since then, I haven't seen him around.
You know, we're all sort of warrior aficionados. You know, if I'm fighting now at this stage and it's going this way, I'd almost have to engage. I know that isn't what Tim wants to do. It's certainly not what his corner wants to do. But these guys are fighters. I think he's going to go after him soon. At least I would.
No, I think Bradley wants to win the fight.
Oh, no question.
Unlike, he has nothing, you know.
He just hit him with one hellacious left hook. So you're right. If he continues to just pop and peck and land left hooks like he just landed, eventually this guy's going to wilt and he'll stop it. Because this is not the Marquez that I've seen over there.
In a way, it's a war of nerve. Who can make the other guy get out of his more natural style first?
Well, that's true. You know, that's what goes to what I was saying, Larry. You know, but Tim, maybe it's just that I'm so excited about this fight, I want to see him mix it up. But if I'm Tim, it's very hard, and it takes great discipline to do what he's doing now. It's tremendously successful.
Well, to me, guys with similar styles, usually it's going to favor the younger, quicker, faster guy, and in this case, it's Bradley, and that's been the case so far tonight.
Oh, this is his fight all the way, Mario. As long as he can end a fight like this is perfect for him. And don't get sucked into what I suggested that I thought he might do. Look at this. Pop the jab, pop the jab. Other guy's slow, he's missing. This is an aged version of a guy who was once a tremendous, sensational fighter. I'm glad that we get to see him one more time.
Just with Marquez's power, too, it's just so hard to count him out. We sit here on the edge of our seat as Bradley's controlling these rounds, but at any moment, as we saw Marquez's last fight, could change.
How quickly we saw in a round near this one. Downstairs he goes. Tim throws it in. Now Marquez opens up. They trade Tim. Whoa! At the end, he's cornered him. He's cornered him. He's cornered him.
Well, Marquez taunted him, and what happened was he got punched in the face by a good stiff jab.
Tim Bradley's wife, Monica, looking rather happy after that round.
Your own fucking game plan, Tim. Dude, don't fuck around, dude. You're up right now.
End of the round, both fighters taunting each other. Marquez really committing to the taunt. I think a lot of frustration. That body shot landed, by the way, from Marquez, causing Bradley to really want to open up. And I think, gentlemen, in this next round, Marquez needs to revert to plan B.
Well, his plan B is, I got to draw this guy into a brawl because I can't beat him boxing. And he's not, and he won't. So let's see if he can drag Tim into a brawl. If Tim engages, it's a mistake. But he's a fighter, so it could happen. And I personally would love to see it happen. Tim goes hunting with that left jab. Squared up a bit is Marquez, looking to throw his right now. But it's wide as it's been all night. Tim in and out, in and out. The old Angelo Dundee style of hit, don't get hit.
And moving his head very well as he moves out.
Tim rolling and throwing that right hand and finding home.
Hasn't landed as many as he did in the last round at this stage.
Good lead right hand. Finally landed.
Marquez threw 5 punches, they all missed.
Colonel, but I think you're right. I think he'll have his moments, you know, catch a punch here and there, or a land a blow, I should say. But this is an older Marquez we're looking at.
I think so, because I've seen this guy perform, and all of us have, at such a level. And this is what I'm seeing out of him right now.
Again, it's the opponent, and recall that I said earlier
Yeah, you're right, man.
that an older fighter can conceal his aging, but a younger fighter will come along who exposes it. Whether this can go on for 12 rounds is what we're here to find out.
I'm more concerned about the beating that he took in the last fight as opposed to the dramatic knockout that he landed. And I think that affected him more. Sure, it was great that he knocked him out in what they call it, the shutter around the world. But in reality, his body can't take many more beatings like he took in the first few rounds of that fight. And I think it shows tonight, for the very first time, I see this guy winning.
Right, and 40 years old. It'll show.
Yeah, and Mario, there's a long way to go. We're only approaching the middle of this fight.
And in every interview we did this week, he talked about how much they worked on his speed with Marquez, but I'm not seeing any of that speed thus far in the fight, guys.
He doesn't have the timing, Larry. You know, his mind is there, but he can't pull the trigger.
Well, you know, Sugar Ray Robinson famously said that you know you're getting older when you see the openings before you punch at them. When they're in their prime, they're punching as the openings develop.
There's another big counter right hand that Bradley's had success with all night.
See, Larry, you pointed out another thing, too, that's so true. Tim is doing a great job moving the head. Never coming straight in. Gets the angle. He stops, works his way back out, pulls out at an angle. Sets up in front of him now. Closing seconds of the 6th round. Marquez wants to try to catch him. He's been successful, you know, in the last couple of seconds. That ends the 6th.
Crowd letting Bradley hear it. They want an exchange. It's not going to happen.
Bradley has fought a perfect fight. Mario, if you were right in the first round, almost perfect.
That's the only round I've given Marquez was the first.
Now remember one thing about the human side of judges. If you're sitting down and you're scoring 6 rounds in a row for one guy against 2 legendary fighters, anything that Marquez does, you might pick up a round here and there.
Yeah, he's by all means not overwhelming him. He'll catch a shot here and there like he did with that overhand right that we just saw, and Marquez happened to catch him with a right, but neither fighter really landing lots of combinations or doing any serious damage thus far.
And Marquez, as yet, has been able to test Bradley's chin.
Very good point, Larry.
That was one of the things we wondered about going into this fight. How could he take a punch after that concussions he took in his last fight.
And of course, that was at the hands of Provednikov. We're going to see him in action next week. So we'll evaluate his progress against Alvarado in a place called Denver, Colorado in the United States of America.
And that's going to be two men in their prime, potential barn burner. Meanwhile, we have a bit more of a chess match here as opposed to the barn burner we were hoping to see.
Yeah, and as far as that chess match goes, as much as we've given or we've scored a lot of these rounds for Bradley, they are still fairly close. It's not like he's won them by a huge margin. It's not like they're dominating rounds. So you never know with the way the crowd goes into play how closely they have them scored.
Well, you know, this is an interesting graphic we got up there for you. Knockouts after round 6. Marquez, 18. Bradley, 1. Wait a minute, that's a 19.
19 rather, and that is telling, and I think that's more to the experience of Marquez, of course.
It's the conditioning, Mario, sorry, it's the conditioning of a younger Marquez.
Yes.
This isn't the Marquez that did that. And don't forget, he is a warrior, and he's going to test him. He's frustrated right now. He wants him to mix it up and brawl with him.
He's starting to move forward gradually, trying to test the ground between them, see if he can find someplace comfortable a little closer.
Tim is beautiful though. In and out, in and out. Wow with that shot. Look at the job he does defensively.
Yeah, he's underrated as defensively. You're right about that. He made Pacquiao miss a lot.
That was the punch heard around the world when it landed on Manny Pacquiao's jaw, the one that just missed. That straight, big right hand.
Windmilling. And you know something, Larry? That punch to me doesn't look as crisp, but look pretty dramatic. But I don't know how much is left on his punch. See, he's missing. That's an indication to me that you had the best line. There was a fighter that said, you know, your mind's there, your brain's out there, and you see it a second later. Something like that.
Somebody named Robinson.
Yes, Sugar Ray Robinson.
And could there be something except for the fact that after such a high and such dramatic fashion with that knockout, do you think he got up for a Bradley post-Pacquiao?
Well, you can say for both of them, but I think your point is a point. But we know how hard he trains and how professional Marquez is.
Remember, it's still a 40-year-old body that has been in 60 wars.
That's a lot.
Bradley wins that round. Now, Larry, let's talk about one thing. Ramifications of this fight if it continues like this as we watch the replay.
Marquez, both men landing nice jabs. Showing great bobbing and weaving and defense. Bradley, which I think is underrated, not many people talk about. Here's another look at it. Marquez missing with double left hooks.
So back to my question then again, Larry. What is Top Rank, what does Tim Bradley want to do if this continues along this?
Well, a little premature, nobody knows. Both fighters turned down rematches with Pacquiao.
For much bigger paydays.
For bigger paydays, for one reason or another. For Marquez, it was because he felt he wanted to leave that series with its dramatic end that'll never be forgotten. For Pacquiao, for Bradley, he didn't want to go to China to fight Pacquiao.
And maybe not open up that story anymore.
All right, here we go, round 8. Bradley with his back to you. That's Juan Manuel Marquez stopping up, as I've said a couple of times in Las Vegas, pick up a paycheck and thumb his way up to Canastota, New York, where he'll go into the Hall of Fame 5 years after he quits fighting.
Good right hand, a quick little right hand by Bradley.
And he's been punch shot like this most of the evening. And again, Juan Manuel. It's just not there. The timing isn't quite there. Punch is a little bit wide, but he's an experienced old pro. And if you don't believe me, ask Michael Moore about an old pro.
Well, you were almost reading my mind, because what happened, we're talking about George Foreman and
Michael Moore.
And what George did was trap him. He was setting a trap to land that big punch. So now you have to start thinking in terms of, is Marquez capable of setting a trap and changing the course of the fight with one punch.
Well, I think he is capable of it. I mean, mind-wise, but I don't know if he's able to do it physically. You know, with George it's different because George throws clubbing punches. At a heavyweight his size, the last thing to go is a punch. And George with one punch could stop anybody.
And he has to create the opportunity, and Bradley's not giving him the opportunity to create it.
Well, we don't see some consistent pattern. He's changed up. He can't, he's admitted, Marquez, that he saw a tell from Pacquiao that unleashed that big punch. He hasn't been able to find the tell yet.
This is a tough puzzle to figure out.
He get caught with a light left hand on the inside. Tim went right back, stepped outside, regroup. Now he's almost inviting Marquez to come in because there's a frustration for Marquez here now. This great champion does not want to look bad. And he doesn't look great.
You know, I was mentioning earlier, it was hard for me to define him. Is he a boxer? Is he a brawler? But what he is sort of awkward to his benefit.
Yeah.
He is hard to figure out.
He is an unorthodox, athletic, smart.
He's all of those things, and because of that, it's effective.
Marquez looks a little bit frustrated, like he's not able to land the shots. He's thinking them out and almost like he's getting frustrated in there.
You're right, Dick. He's very frustrated. Therefore, he's going after it. Tim decided that he would brawl for a couple of seconds. It's okay. Marquez maybe had a better round, but not enough. Hey. That's a Bradley round two.
We're getting to the point where Marquez is going to need a knockout.
Or something dramatic.
Or something dramatic.
Watch Marquez. He has some success.
Nice straight right hand. Another look. Nice straight right hand. Marquez has had his moments, but they're few and far between. And Bradley hasn't planted his feet. Been willing to
Creo que vamos ganando por muy poco margen. Porque no se puede ganar una pelea corriendo, hazlo correr.
Punches that have landed 80 or 70% of themselves.
And for a 40-year-old guy, that's tough.
That's a guy that looks like a 40-year-old guy right there. There's no life in that corner. There's 4 rounds to go. I get Bradley pitching a shutout, 80-72. Glenn Feldman, Robin Hoyle, and Patricia Morse-Jarman are doing the official scoring. My scoring is almost always in line with Robin Hoyle's. Round 9, Thomas and Mack. Juan Manuel Marquez, future Hall of Famer. Tim Bradley, the book hasn't been finished yet, but he's undefeated at 30-0. And he's got this guy figured out tonight.
A nice left hook by Marquez. Not enough to hurt Bradley.
But you see, Marquez now knows the game, and he's moving forward.
Marquez is out of his game now. He's not counter-punching Larry because he's lost every round. His corner knows it. He's got to go on the assault. He has to deviate, and whether he gets him or not, I don't know. But that's what the last 4 rounds are all about.
He's got to stop waiting for something to happen. He's got to make something happen.
Well, he needs to step out of his comfort zone and be the aggressor and let his hands go if he has any intention of wanting to be victorious at this point, in my opinion.
Well, he's trying to, I think, Mario. Jab, hook. Actually, his punches look as crisp now as at any time in the fight. I see him with a little more hand speed. Maybe it's an adrenaline flow. I don't know what it is. It can't be experience. Experience isn't going to give you quickness. But he's got something now that he didn't have 3 or 4 rounds ago.
Well, he's not feeling them out. He now knows that he has to make these things count. He has to make everything count.
By the way, we just passed, since we're in Las Vegas, the over and under on the betting line, which was 9.5.
This is Marquez's best round since the first round, I feel.
And no question it is. But this is a different Marquez than the guy doing all that feeling out early and strictly counterpunching. He's frustrated and he's after Tim. Great thing that Tim's doing is not getting sucked into the wall. All he has to do is box.
Barely missing with that uppercut.
He's thrown some hellacious punches, and he missed them, or Tim rolls with him. So he hasn't hurt Tim at all. Neither fighter down, neither fighter shaken, nobody bloody. Confidence on the face of Marquez. Tim hasn't been touched virtually, and the fight continues. Marquez being aggressive here in the 9th round.
Nice uppercut. There it is again. A nice hook by Marquez. This is definitely his best round of the fight. Nice right hand.
He hurt him. He hurt Tim. His legs are a little loose in the knees. Tim is in such great shape.
Gentlemen.
Well,
Marquez wins the round.
as we said, Marquez had to go to another plan, and he made it effectively. Question, is it too late?
Here's a nice exchange by Marquez. Nice stiff left jab. End of the round with a body shot. The uppercut and the hook were working for Marquez in that fight.
Hey, remember, he's gonna try to stay stronger in this round because we're losing the fight. Okay, so he's gonna get stronger. So you're gonna have to be a little bit more technical on this shit.
It's his only shot.
They're making adjustments,
Tim
remember.
Get sucked into a
Okay,
brawl.
you have to make adjustments. Okay, pick, and stay low. When he comes in, you stay inside. Stay off the road. Tight defense.
Diaz telling Bradley to shuffle with the combinations inside and get out of there.
Good advice.
Or can he make Marquez pay for this new aggression?
That's what it's all about as we go to 10.
All right, these championship rounds.
All those punches missed by Tim Bradley. Nothing ended up thrown yet by Marquez.
The chance of Mexico from the crowd. They saw some life in Marquez in this last round. And we're going to see if it's the start of something new.
He's got to drop him, or he's got to hurt him, or he can't win this fight. But I thought he staggered him just a hair, just a bit, at the tail end of the last round. But Tim is in such magnificent shape at 30 years old, as opposed to 40 years old, that all his brain cells are clicking right on the money.
Big left hook from Marquez, barely missing.
Marquez's left eye is sort of a little semi-closed.
There's the ground away. Here he comes. He nails him. Marquez, I thought he was off balance and maybe would go down, but it was more a balance situation. Nice recovery by Marquez, and he got nailed.
Marquez is a little surprised that Bradley came back at him instead of trying to avoid him.
And let's hope we see a few more exchanges like that. I thought Marquez still landed a couple shots there. Bradley answered, though.
Marquez has definitely landed some maybe more shots, but I think the shot that Bradley landed hurt him. I don't know that's a fact because he didn't go down. It's the feeling I have.
Marquez stalking, trying to still counterpunch.
Tim bending way over, so he really can't do anything but hit his back at the top of his head. You can be knocked out on the top of your head if you want to break your hand.
And I'm surprised that Marquez hasn't adjusted a little bit and gone for the uppercut a little bit more with the bobbing and weaving. Taking a step back from that beautiful uppercut of his.
I just don't think at this age, this stage in his career, that he can execute like he one time could. Oh, the heart's there. You can see the skills. You can see the courage. But I don't see the electricity. That was a decent right hand that he almost landed. But he's almost landed a lot of shots.
Well, I agree, but I think he's been busy enough to still maybe escape with this round.
He might get it. I wouldn't fight with him on this one. Bradley bending over with the right uppercut that time. But based on that, I'm giving Marquez his round.
Slip, of course.
That's a slip because it was a punch. Slip. And the hands were down. That's a knockdown. That's Marquez's round. So Marquez, on my score sheet, has won 9 and 10.
I've got Marquez winning 1.
Yeah, 1 championship rounds, baby. 4 rounds is 11 rounds.
Way behind.
Hey, we got 2 more rounds, baby. Hey, and you're ahead.
I've got a 98-92 going to the real championship rounds now as you look at this replay.
Both fighters landing big left hooks.
Agarra, agarra.
Bradley going, showing good sportsmanship.
Grasa.
Marquez going down, not hitting.
Voy. Presiónalo, Juan, es el 11. El 11.
Boy, I'm getting gassed now watching these two guys work this hard. This is round 11. It's championship time. And the great multiple division and multiple-time champion Juan Marquez pull this out against the reigning champ Tim Bradley.
Now these have been very close rounds, and we discussed that the judges may have been seeing it in different ways too. So these next 2 rounds really could determine the outcome of the fight.
Yeah, very. By the way, because I have it 98-92 doesn't mean the judges don't have it even the other way, because there have been enough close rounds. Remember, our scoring is not official. We're just trying to give you an indication of what we think the judges might be doing.
Christina just showed me some scores from Press Row. Kevin Ioli from Yahoo. Yeah, from Yahoo, and Dan Rignell from ESPN Sports have it 96-94 Bradley.
So they have it a little closer, but like we said,
but they're talking to each other. Back there in Press Row, no, they shoot the breeze back and forth.
I respect
these judges.
I respect their view.
I do too. I absolutely do. The best journalists in the world. I sit down with Dan Raphael before every fight, and Kevin Ioli and I sit in the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame together. So I respect them a lot, and that's why I said it wouldn't surprise me if it were even or the other way. Doesn't surprise me. This is the way I see it, and I'm not backing up on it.
Marquez definitely being the more aggressive one in this round.
And he's winning this round too, Mario, halfway through it. But again, 2 rounds ago, he left his fight plan and made a big adjustment. He hasn't been able to catch him with a big shot.
He hasn't, but Bradley has slowed down, and he has stuck to his game plan, but hasn't been as active.
But for Tim, it's been a fast-paced situation, moving in and out, making sure he's not caught, thinking when he goes in, side to side, a lot of movement. Where the other guys had to try and cut him off all the time, try and catch up with him, and counter him early. Bradley doesn't look great right now, I'll tell you.
He actually looks a little winded. The mouth is a little open, and maybe it's being on his bicycle all night, but a young Marquez would make this really interesting right now, but does he have enough in the tank to maybe close it out strong these next couple rounds? A round and a half, rather.
20 seconds to go. The Mexico chance go up. Obviously, they believe, as does Dan Raphael and Kevin Ioli, that their man is ahead. We'll find out. I mean, one thing for sure, Marquez won that round. So he's won 3 in a row. That means the other 2 guys have got him up by 3 rounds, Mario.
No, they had Bradley winning by 2 rounds.
Oh,
they had
last
Bradley
round.
up. No, they had Bradley up, but just a little
Last round,
closer.
baby.
But
How you feel?
it seems that most
Take a
people
deep
have
breath.
Bradley
Take a
winning
deep
via
breath.
social media, but of course the judges are not
got
on
him
social
with
media.
And the other thing is, people are afraid to commit. I'm not. I have more experience than every judge in this building. I've judged over 10,000 fights. And tonight, this is my 949th world title fight. I'll put my scoring up against anybody.
La pelea creo
I'm a
que la vas
certified
ganando. No
ABC
se puede
judge,
ganar una
I'm
pelea
a certified
corriendo.
WBO judge, and a
Pero
certified
presiónalo en el
WBC
último
judge.
round.
So I don't care
Ridiculízalo.
what they say. My score is right. May not
Búscalo y
agree with
tira
the
los
rest
más
of
golpes
them,
que
but I
puedas
don't
y hazlo
back up.
fallar.
You,
Esa
sir,
es la-
I agree with
esa es la
100%.
You are a certified right guy.
A certified white guy?
Right guy.
Oh, right
Right.
guy.
Both, actually. All right, this is it. The 12th round.
This is what we came for.
I have Marquez needing a knockout or at least a knockdown to end with a draw.
I got a 107, 102. He'd have to knock him out of my score sheet or knock him down a couple of times. Tim is too smart for that this time around, I think. But it's not the nation of a fight of the coast. Let's see if he engages. Fourth and final round. Las Vegas, Nevada. WBO welterweight championship of the world on the line. Is there one more great night for one great champion in history, Juan Manuel Marquez?
Well, I'm thinking of two younger fighters in which the younger fighter thought he had the fight wrapped up, and he didn't try to win the last round and wound up losing the fight. And that was Belzo and Trinidad.
Yes.
Great example, Larry.
Gil Clancy told me that it was the greatest mistake of his life not to tell him to go out to win the last round. And Bradley has been trying to defend his title rather than to win it in these last rounds.
Again. Marquez on the assault, trying to catch him halfway through the last round.
Timmy's put his hands up.
Bradley is giving this round away.
Could be a mistake. We've seen strange things happening in boxing scoring recently. Let's hope this isn't the case tonight.
And it's a mistake if he wants to win the fans' approval, which he so desperately seeks, or as he says.
He feels he did that against Providnikov, and he just wants to win this one. He hasn't shown any excessive testosterone tonight.
And he's stuck to the game plan very well.
Unfortunately.
He's done that great, Christina. Absolutely right. 58 seconds ago, put your ears back, son. Let it fly. Go after it. Don't let him take it away from you, in case the judges have a whole lot closer than we do. And Marquez is winning this round, but it's not too late, Timothy. Go after him. Because I'll tell you this, Marquez doesn't have the same power in this round that Providnikov had in the final round of their fight. I'll guarantee you that.
No, that's for a fact. And Providnikov was letting his hands go, and he was a busy fighter, and he was overwhelming Bradley. That hasn't been the case tonight.
See, Mario, he's got all the right intention, but he's still missing. See that?
Yeah. He hasn't landed one of those big haymakers, even partially.
15 seconds to go.
He's had his moments, and I still think he's done enough to win this round.
Oh, here they go. It crosses him, and he almost dropped it. How about that? Don't put your hands down. He almost dropped it.
Will that punch win him the round
I give it to him.
and the fight?
I still give Marquez that round.
punch. It was the only hard telling punch in an entire fight. Do you give him the round on that?
I still think he did enough work in this round. It was effective in the corners for Marquez to get the round. However, not the fight.
Well, I agree with both of you. Number one, I think that Bradley should get the round because he hurt Marquez. And everything that Marquez did the whole round, he didn't hurt him once. He was more
Did he hurt
aggressive.
him? Was he a little off balance?
Oh, no, he hurt
He
him.
was hurt. He was
Definitely.
hurt.
Well, we're going
And
to see the replay.
here's the exchange here.
You'll see.
You want me to go up?
Oh, he hurt him.
Marty?
He almost dropped him.
Marty?
Wow. Almost dropped him. How those 40-year-old legs held up is beyond me.
They
That's a
held
credit
up.
to a great, great former champion. I get a 117, 111. Mario, what do you got?
I have Marquez with getting 5 rounds. And I have not done my math because I was looking at the...
And at this stage, I can't figure it out. But I get him winning 1, 2, 3. I get him winning 3 rounds. And then you added the 12th and the first. So you get closer than I am.
Yeah, I did have it.
Very well, maybe right.
5 rounds for Marquez. What did you have, Christina?
Well, I'm by far the least qualified person to be judging fights at this table, but it was really hard for me to score the first round, so I made it a 10-10 round, as the Colonel said, to do if you ever get Lost. So my final scorecard: Bradley 116, Marquez 113.
With that said, this could easily be a split decision.
It could, and it could.
Very easily. And I don't take exception to it. As long as the commission judges get it right. And if two of them go with Bradley, I'm okay with it. I don't mind a split decision. If it happens, I don't know. We'll see. I think Bradley easily won it, but I've seen stranger things. As long as the panel, as appointed by Keith Kaiser, gets it right, I'm okay with it. I can live with it.
I agree with you, and I think, you know what, Bradley, as polarizing a figure as he may be, he finds ways to win, and he is a difficult puzzle to sort of figure out.
All right, it's Michael Buffer. You'll know in a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, by way of Wynn Las Vegas, we go to the scorecards. Glenn Philbin scores the contest 115 to 113. He scores it for Marquez. Robert Hoyle scores it 115-113, and he has it for Bradley. Patricia Morse Jarman scores the contest 116 to 112 to the winner by split decision. And still, WBO welterweight champion of the world from Palm Springs, California, USA, Timothy Desert
Storm. Retains the title, and our judging gave the fans the indication of exactly the way the judges had it.
Exactly, you're exactly right. It was close on two of the judges' scorecards. On the other one, it was leaning. I believe he had your
exact same score I had.
Score. So I'm not disputing.
But I go back to Mario, which is the most important thing, and why with all the criticism that judges get, the commission appointed 3 judges that combined got it right.
And at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
That's all that's important.
That's all
Bradley
that
won
matters.
it.